Well, it was Kansas's first true test on the road, taking on the Fighting Illini in Illinois. What happened in that game? Plus, we preview their game this Friday against UNLV right here on Second City Jayhawk. Well, this game against the Fighting Illini in Illinois, Kansas is their first true test. I think this season for them. They played Lindenwood game 1. It wasn't really a team that gave them any problems. It didn't seem like a team that was up to par with a Division I FBS school, right? So Kansas dominated that game, and that game really, you didn't know if that was indicative of how the team was going to play in the season, or it was just because Lindenwood was Lindenwood, right? So Kansas goes into Illinois, playing a team that just won 45-0 the week prior. Illinois did. So both teams are 1-0, looking for the second win of the season to get the season underway. I was there. I was at that game. The crowd was loud, and the temperatures were cold for a game that was in early September. Definitely dropped to the mid 50s, like 55, 56 towards the middle of the game. I was cold. It was funny. I got there, and I had a hoodie on, and it was getting kind of warm, and I was like, maybe I should leave it in the car. That would have been a big mistake, because I was cold during the most of the second half. It got pretty cold down where we were. We were sitting in the horseshoe that game. And actually, here's some footage I took from the game. It was hard due to where we were seated, and the fans during certain plays were standing. But here's a couple videos from that game. You're going to see a couple things where I show a little bit of them on the field practicing on the field, and also we'll get to another play here in a second.
Mary Hauser, Assistant Director of Athletic Bands, Dr. Hannah Rudy, Director of Bands, Dr. Kevin Duraldi, Assistant Director of Bands, Dr. Ken Fleming, Drumline Instructor Aaron Kappelman, Guard Instructor Caitlin Pugh, and Field Staff Reed Lasley. Graduate Assistants Jacob Archie, Sheridan Mackey, and...
So that's a little bit before the game started. Obviously, I like the pageantry of college football, the band coming out for Illinois, the practice, stuff like that. That's why I like college football, stuff like that occurs. Now, Jalen Daniels in this game was not exactly what people expected him to do, right? Jalen Daniels obviously hasn't been on the field in quite a long time because of injury, and now this year he's back, what appears to be healthy. And you expected them to play well with him throwing the football, but it wasn't really the case. He was 18 of 32 for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns, including this one. You'll see it. I'm going to throw the video up to Luke Grimm in the corner of the end zone. It was a great throw by Jalen. So they see that throw there. That was a great pass. I know how I was able to get, because I was you try to watch the game while you're there, right? But I wanted to film that too, and I thought I filmed it very well. But you can let me know. But he also had 3 interceptions, which was bad, including a costly pick six, which they were closer to their side of the field, and Jalen threw a pass that was picked off by Illinois, returned for a touchdown. Was not a good day throwing the football. 18 of 32 doesn't sound bad. It's a little over 50%. But just the throws I saw, a lot of throws were mistimed, a lot of miscues on Jalen's part to receivers that looked like they were open, and just kind of throwing into a lot of traffic where Illinois was. It just seemed like he was off. I don't know if it was the cold or what it was, but Jalen just seemed off in the game against Illinois. They had 186 yards on the ground, which, if you follow any of the Kansas sports or podcasts or anything out there that relates to Kansas football, everyone asked the same question. Why didn't they run the ball more? They had 186 yards on the ground. 101 of those were from Devin Neal, who ran the ball only 14 times. Was something wrong with Devin Neal? Was he injured? I don't know. From what I understand, no. So it begs the question, why they didn't run the football more? You figure with a player like Jalen Daniels, who he hasn't been on the field as much. I mean, obviously injuries have plagued his career since he's been at Kansas, and now it's the first time he's actually healthy. But you still want to run the football because he hasn't really had a lot of playing time. So you thought they would rely heavily on the run. And considering it was working. It's not like it wasn't working. You had 186 yards rushing the football, 101 of them coming from Devin Neal. And it just was working. But then you consistently threw the football into traffic and making mistakes, and it brought the team down. It just was like a lot of not really positive plays from them, right? Not a lot of positive plays from the offense. And it just seemed like they were on the same page throwing the football in that game, and it definitely showed on the field. Now, something you wouldn't know watching the game, you'd only know if you were there, where I was sitting anyway. While we were there, some fans were yelling, "Stick with basketball." Now, first of all, on one side, Illinois has really nothing to cheer about. They've won a Big Ten since 2001. It's been 23 years, and they haven't really done anything of note in basketball either or football except 2001. So that's a little of a kind of a backhanded compliment because you haven't really done anything either in either sport, basketball or football. But now, as idiotic as that and short-sighted, like I said, as idiotic and short-sighted as that may be, it's kind of true in a sense. Kansas has always been known as a top basketball program. They're always deep in the tournaments, in the NCAA tournament. They're always like a number 1 or number 2 seed. They always make deep runs in the tournament. They're always like getting to the Final Four or winning a championship. Kansas is a basketball school. That's a given. No one's going to dispute that. And they're trying to show the country that they can play football too. They got a coach in Lance Leipold's very widely respected in college football circles. They have a player like Jalen Daniels. They have Devin Neal. They have all these great players that are making this team worth talking about. People wouldn't talk about them if they weren't that good. They're ranked 19 before the game against Illinois. They're not ranked anymore after the loss, but they're being talked about as a team potentially could win the Big 12 championship, potential playoff. This team is obviously getting talked about because of the talent they have on the field. But a performance like this, I guess opponent, honestly, they should have defeated. Makes you kind of pause looking at the team. I'm sure Coach Leipold will get the team right and try to turn this around. But, with the Big 12 schedule approaching, he better do it sooner rather than later. I mean, this team is talented. There's no secret. There's no lying about that. This team is talented. It just depends when they can put this talent back on the field. And in this game against Illinois, I didn't see. I mean, I saw some good plays, but that's the thing that's so vexing, right? There were plays that Jalen Daniels threw the pass. The pass that I showed to Luke Grimm was a great throw. There's a pass he threw to Lawrence Arnold in the end zone. That was a great throw too. But then obviously the three interceptions are you scratch your head. Like the guy that threw those 2 touchdowns are throwing interceptions like this, missing throws like this. It makes you scratch your head because Jalen Daniels is talented. But it just seemed that he had issues connecting with his team. And hopefully, again, 1-1 is not a detriment in college football. It's not. Especially with the 12-team playoff, and they haven't started Big 12 play yet. This game against UNLV isn't Big 12 either. However, you want to start strong early because it doesn't get any easier for them. They have to play Kansas State, who they have not beaten in 15 years. They got to play Colorado, who I know Colorado got bounced by Nebraska, but Colorado still has a lot of talent on that team. Their schedule does not get any easier. So they have to figure it out now before it gets really difficult, and it might be too late for them to turn the season around. So I enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed the game. I went with my fiance. We both had a good time. But it just, as a sports fan, you hate seeing a team that you like and root for lose in a hostile environment, which it was there. But I had fun. I enjoyed watching the teams, and I enjoyed the pageantry that is college football. So now we get to week 3 against UNLV. Now this is a blackout game at home, so hopefully the Jayhawk Nation shows out in droves, wears all the black jerseys. I love the black jerseys of Kansas. They look really, really nice. If you follow my other channel, we wore them, the black jerseys, in one of the games we played in my Kansas Jayhawk dynasty. So I like those jerseys. They look really, really nice. So this is a game. It's at Children's Mercy Park on Friday on ESPN. if you want to check the game out. So it's a game that they are at home in front of their home team. So this is a game they should win. However, they are playing a UNLV team that is 2-0. So they're undefeated. And actually in their last game, UNLV won 72-14 against Utah Tech, but still 72 points is nothing to sneeze at. UNLV is averaging nearly 50 points a game, which actually is 18 more points than Kansas. So this is not a Big 12 game. UNLV is in the Mountain West Conference, while Kansas is in the Big 12. So this is not a Big 12 matchup for Kansas. However, it is important they win this game. Because going to 1-2, I mean, right now, like I said, they're not ranked anymore. They were 19, lost to Illinois by 6, and now they're not ranked. They're trying to get back into that. Because they were believed by the national polls, right? They ranked them beginning of the season because of how good this team looks. So they need to prove that they are this good, right? Now, this is honestly a game that can make or break their season. Like I said, while it's not a Big 12 game, but after a disappointing loss last week, you want to get in the win column against a team that you should beat on paper. I mean, all the noise that was made about Kansas this season, about Jalen Daniels returning and Devin Neal, secondary with Bryant and Dotson, at some point, you got to put the product on the field, and it damn sure be better to start this Friday. Honestly, because, Kansas is one of those teams that people, I think, believe in because of their coach and the talent they have throwing the football, running the football on the the defense. I mean, I know Jalen and Kobe were in there. I'm thinking somebody else might have been too, but I know Jalen and Kobe were in the top 100 ESPN ranking for college football players. So obviously this team has a lot of talent around them, and people that are making decisions about who is good and who's not believe in this team. Now, I'll try to watch the game. Hopefully, I think I can. Schedule-wise, I have no idea, but I'll at least keep my eyes on it. And I think they come out in this game, and I think they win. Not because I'm biased, because I want to see them win. I think they do win because it's a game at home. I think Lance Leopold saw what they did in the game against Illinois. They made a lot, because that's the thing, right? They played against Lindenwood, which is a game that they never had a chance to lose, ever. In no scenario whatsoever, they were going to lose to Lindenwood, right? And they took Jalen and Devin out second half because there's really no point for them to keep playing, right? So the game against Illinois was really their first true test of the season, right? So it showed what this team was expected of them, and they didn't really produce on the football field. So that game was, okay, where are our issues lying here? Obviously, Jeff Grimes did not call a good offensive game. They should have ran the football more, and hopefully they adjust and learn from that. Jalen Daniels threw 3 costly turnovers, 1 return for a touchdown, and hopefully he watches the film and learns from that. The defense didn't play that bad, right? It was the offense that turned the ball over too many times. The defense, I mean, there were a couple of passes that Luke Altmaier for Illinois threw, and they were really good passes, really nice throws and catches. But for the most part, the defense kind of held them, right? So this is a game for Kansas that they have to come out and minimize mistakes, play to your strengths, and just stay in the game. People around me at the end of the game when it was 23-17 with about a minute left, people were saying, I'm kind of nervous. Because I think they know how good Jalen Daniels is. They know he's capable of leading them down the field and scoring a touchdown at the end of the game. They could have won 24-23, but that didn't happen because it wasn't working throwing the football for Jalen. And then obviously you can't run the ball with 58 seconds left, unless you're me playing college football 25, running with Devin Neal for 300, 400 yards. But, this is a game to really fix those issues you had against Illinois. You're like, okay, where did we go wrong in this game? Why did we lose? Let's figure it out and put those fixes back on the field against UNLV. Because if they come out against UNLV and make the same mistakes, they're going to be looking at a 1-2 record, and it's going to be a head-scratcher because you look at this team, right? Jalen Daniels is a redshirt junior, so there's potential for him going to the NFL after the season's over if he plays well enough to get drafted. Devin Neal is probably going to get drafted. Kobe Bryant's probably going to get drafted. Melo Dawson's probably going to get drafted. O.J. Burrs is probably going to get drafted. So this team is trying to collectively come together as seniors for the most part and make some noise this season because they have a lot of hype around them. And if they don't deliver on that hype this week, there's going to be a lot of talk going forward to where does this Kansas team stand, not just in the Big 12, but in the spectrum of college football. So it's definitely a game you have to look at and see where this team is after Friday. If they win, it depends how they win. If they lose, looking at 1-2, and then heading into a Big 12 schedule with, I know West Virginia's on the horizon, TCU, and of course Kansas State down there, and Colorado are in there too. So it's a game they have to have, because if they don't, who knows what's going to happen with this Kansas team the rest of the way. So that is pretty much going to do it. Nice quick little Second City Jayhawk podcast for you all. I really enjoyed going to the game, like I said, at Illinois. Hopefully more of those opportunities happen in the future. And yeah, I'll be watching the game Friday against UNLV. Hopefully Kansas comes out and plays well and minimizes mistakes, like I said. And we will talk all about it next week right here on Second City Jayhawk. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you like what you heard, definitely give this video a like. I know it's like a podcast on YouTube. I know they don't really get a lot of attention, but if you like what you heard, definitely leave a like. Let me know you're enjoying it today and appreciate you stopping by. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you have not already, where a lot of stuff is going to come out down here. You saw my NFL recap on here. NFL previews coming up this weekend. A lot of stuff coming down as far as college football, NFL football, tennis, wrestling. A lot of more content is coming to this rebranded channel. I'm so excited to bring that to you. And once again, thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time right here on Second City Jayhawk.